Okay, we're going to diagnose this machine. It's not starting, and before we spend any money on it, we want to make sure that it's mechanically okay and go through a process of diagnosing what might be wrong with it. So I'm going to do a visual check to start with. I can see the primer bulb's missing already. I'm going to turn this over and remove this air cleaner cover. Yours may have screws holding it on, some extra clips. There's a lot of different varieties, but just remove this outer cover. And then under there should be some sort of foam filter to filter the air going inside the engine. So this one's missing, so we're going to have to order a filter for that. A filter and a primer bulb so far. Now I'm going to go and check the fuel lines. They feel very hard, there's no rubberness to them anymore. So we're going to get new fuel lines. This green colour suggests that the fuel's going off as well. So there's a filter inside the tank, so if I'm replacing the fuel lines, I'm going to replace the filter too. So we need a filter, fuel lines, primer bulb and air cleaner so far. Now you can get them at your local mower shop for anywhere between $5 to $7, so already that's about $20 worth of stuff. I don't like to do that because I'm trying to make this as cheap as possible for you guys. You can buy all of that stuff with a spark plug and a carburetor online for $15 to $20, so that's the way I go, and that way we can replace just about everything on the outside of this that can be replaced and bring it back up to scratch. Before we do any of that though, we're going to check that the motor's not seized, so we're going to remove this spark plug boot. Just pull that to the side and we want to get the spark plug out. To do that, we're going to use a spark plug socket. You can get these from any hardware store, or if you have a socket set, there's probably one in there. So just go ahead and remove that. Okay, let's have a quick inspection. It looks okay. Sometimes there's char on there, it looks like charcoal all around there, and the gaps, there's no gap in there anymore. If that's the case, you're going to need a new one. But again, we'll do this diagnosis and see how we go. If you need a new one, if you just want to buy one on its own, you can use that number on the side there to order yourself a new one. Just grab one from a local mower shop. So we're going to put that back in the boot. Now, the idea is to touch the edge of this spark plug onto the engine down there where you took it out from. If you've got enough room, all models are different. I don't have enough room here to get that down while it's still in the boot. So if you can touch that onto the engine, do that. I can't, so I'm going to use a socket just to rest that on the engine, and I'm going to rest the other end against the spark plug just to bridge the gap. So you just want some sort of metal between the spark plug and the engine. Now what we're going to do is just give it a pull over just to see if there's a spark in the gap in the spark plug. I'm not sure if that comes up on the video there, but I can definitely see a spark, so this electrical system's good. So we'll just take that out. We'll replace this spark plug. If you had no spark there, I would go and find a replacement spark plug and spend that money first, and that would be the only money I spend until I do any more diagnosis on this, unless you're going to buy the complete kit. So we'll just put that back in there. Okay, so we know that there's spark, there's no problem there. We're not going to be able to get fuel up with the primer, so now we need to get fuel into the engine. To do that, I'm going to turn this over. This choke lever, if you move that, you'll see a butterfly there inside close and then open. So in that open position, that's in the run position. When it's closed, that's the start position. So we want that in the run position to be open. And that way that fuel can go straight through into the engine. But before we do that, we're just going to check that this switch is in the run position, which it is. We're going to grab the throttle into the full open position, because there's another butterfly down inside there which also needs to be open. So with the throttle on full, the choke in the open or run position, I'm going to get a little bit of fuel and just inject that down into the center. Now we can put the choke on, release the throttle. Now there's fuel in the motor. So we've got a spark, there's fuel in the motor, so after pulling this it should start. And it should just run for a couple of seconds just to burn out that fuel that we just put in there. So let's give it a go. So there you go, we can see that there's nothing wrong with this machine. At this stage I would go ahead and order a kit to replace the carburetor and all the fuel lines and get this machine back up and running, because it's perfectly fine. So I'll cover this more in the manual. If you're following this from the internet and you're not sure of what I'm talking about, if you follow the link down below, you'll see a link to a manual where I'll go through all this stuff in a lot more detail. Thanks for watching.